Hello students, welcome again in this beautiful world of accountancy. I hope you all are practicing hard at home. Now through this video I am going to start revision of one of the most important chapter of our accounting career, that is journal entry. But before I start, I'll suggest you all to please like and subscribe my channel. Now, before starting revision of journal entries, we should revise the rules of debit and credit as per modern approach first. As per modern approach, we will divide accounts in 5 categories. Those categories are assets, liabilities, capital, revenue and expense. And as we know, asset and expense are of similar nature. It means whenever there is increase in them, we must show it on debit side. Whenever there is decrease in asset and expense, it must be shown on credit side. Similarly, the same treatment will be done for liability, capital and revenue. In case of liability, capital and revenue, if there is increase in any one of them, then it will be shown on credit side. Whenever there is decrease in any one of them, then it must be shown on debit side. Now, after revising rules for debit and credit, let's start revision of journal entries. We will revise some of the important journal entries in this class only. Those are: first, on receiving cash discount. Now, first you should know when we will receive cash discount. We will receive cash discount whenever we are making payment to creditors. In such situation, creditors must be debited and cash or bank should be credited. The difference between both of them will be transferred to discount account. It means creditor को देना था ज़्यादा, दिया कम, जो भी हमने कम पे किया, that will be termed as income. And as we know, incomes are to be shown on credit side. On the reverse side, on allowing cash discount, we will allow cash discount to the debtors. Now again, reverse of that will be pass. It means यहाँ पे first entry में cash credit था, यहाँ पे cash और bank क्या होगा, debit. Next is in first entry or first situation, discount received is termed as income, इसलिए उसे मैंने credit किया था. Now in case of discount allowed will be termed as expense and expense must be debited. Therefore, entry for allowing account is cash account debit or bank account debit, discount allowed debit to debtors account. One thing you should remember, cash discount received is applicable at the time of making payment and cash discount allowed will be applicable in case of payment received. Now next. Now entries related to debtor. If amount from debtor is not recoverable or irrecoverable, it means जब हम debtor से पैसा recover नहीं कर सकते, then it will be termed as bad debt and that bad debt must be debited. Therefore, entry for bad debt is bad debt account debit. On the other side, or we can say on credit side, we will write the name of the debtor. So entry for bad debt is bad debt account debit to debtor's personal account. Now, if some of the portion due from debtor is irrecoverable or non-recoverable, it means सारा पैसा नहीं डूब रहा, कुछ portion डूब रहा है. That thing happens when in a question it is given to us that we can recover 70 paisa in a rupee, 60 paisa in a rupee. In such situation, some portion due from debtor is irrecoverable. The amount which is not recoverable is known as bad debt and the portion which we recover must be debited to cash and total must be shown on debtor's personal account. Therefore, entry in such case is cash account debit, bank account debit or bad debt account debit to debtor's personal account. Now after passing entries related to amount not recoverable from debtors, there is one more. That situation is when such bad debt is recovered in subsequent years. पिछले साल हमने मान लिया कि वो पैसा लेके चला गया, but now when we recover that money, cash must be debited. Which thing must be debited? Cash or bank must be debited and it will be termed as income. It means on the credit side, we will write the name of income in place of name of the person who is paying that money. The name of the income is bad debt recovered account. Therefore, entry for bad debt recovered is cash account debit or bank account debit to bad debt recovered. Now, there is one more situation when cash is used by owner for their personal use. When cash or goods both taken by owner for their personal use, entry is drawings account debit to cash account. Now next entry is for outstanding expense. It means the expenses for which benefit is already derived by us, but payment for which yet to be paid. Now, entry in such case will create a liability. एंड जब लाइबिलिटी बढ़ता है तो वो क्रेडिट होता है, और एक्सपेंस का बेनिफिट हम ले चुके हैं तो वो एक्सपेंस डेबिट भी होगा. देयरफॉर एंट्री फॉर आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंसेस, एक्सपेंस अकाउंट डेबिट टू आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंस. इट मीन्स दैट एक्सपेंस मस्ट बी रिप्लेस विद द नेम ऑफ एक्सपेंस. लाइक अगर हमने रेंट पे किया तो एक्सपेंस की जगह रेंट लिखा जाएगा, अगर हमने सैलरी पे किया तो एक्सपेंस की जगह सैलरी लिखा जाएगा. एंड टू आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंस वी विल रिप्लेस टू आउटस्टैंडिंग सैलरी और रेंट एज द केस मे बी. Now, next situation is for prepaid expense. As the name suggests, payment is made in advance. It means outflow of cash is there. And as we know, whenever cash or bank balance is reducing, they must be shown on credit side. And on the debit side, we will show the name of the expense with prepaid in advance. Now, entry for prepaid expense is prepaid expense account debit to expense account. Again, ये expense में हम rent, salary, जो भी हमें नेचर ऑफ एक्सपेंस या नेम ऑफ एक्सपेंस दिया होगा उसे रिप्लेस कर देंगे. नाउ नेक्स्ट एंट्री इज फॉर एक्रूड इनकम. एक्रूड इनकम मीन्स आउटस्टैंडिंग इनकम. इट मीन्स द इनकम फॉर विच वर्क इज ऑलरेडी डन बट दैट इनकम इज नॉट रिसीव्ड बाय अस. देयरफॉर इट विल बी टर्म्ड एज एसेट, और एसेट का बैलेंस क्या होता है? डेबिट. दैट्स व्हाई एक्रूड इनकम मस्ट बी डेबिटेड. हमने एक्रूड इनकम को डेबिट कर दिया. ऑन क्रेडिट साइड वी विल राइट द नेम ऑफ द इनकम फॉर विच दैट एक्रूड वर्ड इज क्रिएटेड. लाइक अगर आपका रेंट एक्रूड होता है तो एंट्री होगा एक्रूड रेंट टू रेंट अकाउंट. नाउ आई एम क्रेडिटिंग इनकम बिकॉज रेवेन्यू को हमने रिकॉग्नाइज कर लिया है कि दैट फ्रॉम दैट सोर्स वी विल रिसीव इनकम. नाउ देयर इज वन मोर सिचुएशन सिमिलर टू और अपोजिट टू इट इज एडवांस इनकम. Now, advance income means when income is received by any business house in advance. For this income, work is yet to be done. और अगर आपको वर्क करना है तो ये इनकम आपका अभी अर्न नहीं हुआ तो इसे हम इनकम में से रिमूव करेंगे. दैट्स वाई इनकम शुड बी डेबिटेड. जो आपने इनकम रिकॉर्ड किया है उसमें से इसे रिमूव करने का तरीका है उस इनकम को डेबिट कीजिए. एंड ऑन क्रेडिट साइड वी विल राइट टू इनकम रिसीव्ड इन एडवांस अकाउंट. नाउ आफ्टर नोइंग एंट्रीज फॉर outstanding expense or prepaid expense, accrued income and advance income, important entries are there related to depreciation and opening entry. Now, entry for depreciation. First, we must know the meaning of depreciation. Fall in the value of an asset due to usage, effects of time or accident is known as depreciation. तो depreciation क्या है हमारे लिए? Expense. And expense must be debited. That's why whenever we are asking by the examiner or in question to charge depreciation on any asset, depreciation must be debited. And on the other side, we will credit the asset on which such depreciation is charged. Like machinery पे charge करेंगे तो entry होगा depreciation account debit to machinery account. Now, before moving ahead with opening entry, we should know the meaning of depreciation again. The meaning of depreciation is it is the fall in the value of an fixed asset which decreases the asset value in books every year, and that fall comes due to usage, obsolescence or accident. Now, opening entry. At the beginning of every financial year we need to pass an opening entry. Opening entry is all assets must be debited individually and all liabilities must be credited individually. Whatsoever is balancing figure is with you, that must be shown in capital account. Therefore, opening entry is asset account debit to liabilities account to capital account, and in capital we will show balancing figure. This entry comes from the accounting equation which says that assets are always equal to liabilities plus capital. Now, some important transaction related to banking system in a business. First transaction is when check received from a debtor and deposited in the bank on the same day. When that check is deposited in the bank on the same day, it means your bank balance will increase. That's why bank must be debited and the giver, or we can say the debtor, must be credited. So entry for deposit of check on the same day is bank account debit to debtor's account. When check received from debtor is not deposited in the bank on the same day, then entry is check in hand account debit. Check in hand account debit to the debtor. क्योंकि बैंक के पास चेक गया ही नहीं, देयरफॉर हमें बैंक को डेबिट करने की भी जरूरत नहीं है। नाउ सेकेंड सिचुएशन, इफ सच चेक जो हमने डेटर से रिसीव किया था सेम डे डिपॉजिट नहीं किया, व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू डिपॉजिट दैट चेक, देन एंट्री इज बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट टू चेक इन हैंड. Now next entry, check deposited is dishonored when the check which we receive from debtor become dishonored. It means we will ask debtor to make payment us again. It means he will become debtor again. That's why in case of dishonor of a check, giver must be debited. जिसने आपको वो चेक दिया था वो डेबिट हो जाएगा. It means debtor must be debited and बैंक मस्ट बी क्रेडिटेड, क्योंकि आपने सोचा था कि बैंक बैलेंस बढ़ गया पर वो डिसऑनर की वजह से कम हो जाएगा. दैट्स व्हाई व्हेनेवर देयर इज डिक्रीज इन एनी एसेट इट मस्ट बी क्रेडिटेड. देयरफॉर द एंट्री फॉर डिसऑनर चेक इज डेटर्स अकाउंट डेबिट टू बैंक अकाउंट. नाउ देयर इज वन मोर इंपॉर्टेंट एंट्री व्हिच यू शुड रिमेंबर, दैट इज बैंक चार्जेस चार्ज बाय बैंक. बैंक कभी भी चार्जेस आपसे घर पे चार्ज करने नहीं आता. दे विल डिडक्ट दैट चार्जेस फ्रॉम योर बैंक बैलेंस. And entry for bank charges is bank charges account debit, since that is an expense. ये क्या है आपके लिए? Expense है and it should be debited. Bank charges account debit to bank account, क्योंकि वो आपके बैंक से ही काट लेगा और आपका assets कम होगा. And whenever there is reduction in asset, it must be credited. Thank you and goodbye. And in next class we will start ledger. But before leaving this page again, don't forget to like and subscribe my channel once again.